In April 1969, Mary Finnegan was in her garden in the London suburb of Beckenham when she struck up a conversation with a man playing a guitar through the open window of a flat next door. That man, a 22-year-old David Bowie, who had dropped round to see a friend, was still living at home and leapt at Mary's offer to move in as her lodger. They soon became lovers. But only weeks later, Mary found herself supplanted by the woman who was to become Bowie's wife, the American Mary Angela Angie Barnett, who, 47 years later, is one of the celebrities to have just entered Channel 5's Big Brother house. Here, Mary describes the details of the tempestuous relationship that ensued under her roof, Angie's wild and dark moods, and also mystical allure to the future Ziggy Stardust. Opening the front door of my flat after a few days away, my nose registers change. Sniff, a whiff of furniture polish. Sniff again, disinfectant over a Chanel base note. And not even the faintest odors of what might have been expected, sweaty socks, for example, take-away curry and the ever-present blend of fag ends and cannabis smoke. Into the kitchen, and my eyes confirm what my nose had detected, it is spotless. The sink is empty and shiny, the worktops are immaculate, and the floor gleams. It is almost beyond belief. Has David finally noticed the squalor that accumulates when I disappear from the household and hired a home help? Then comes a flash of intuition. I move noiselessly towards David's bedroom, give the door the smallest possible shove and poke my face round it. The bed is made, the room is clean, tidy, and empty. The Chanel smell is stronger. A flowered silk kimono hangs over a chair, and on the window ledge I find David's latest song, scribbled on a notebook. It starts with the words, "Beautiful Angie," and goes on into an outpouring of praise and passion. It is not one of his best and I never hear it performed, but it gives me the message with devastating clarity. I retreat into the kitchen in a state of bewilderment, thoughts charging over how I would cope with my next encounter with David, and my first with the woman who has usurped my position in his life. Even under the cool scrutiny of hindsight, I have to admit that, not only was I in love with David, but that he was responsible for a quantum shift in my capacity to love and so, my capacity to be hurt and jealous. My initial shock is replaced by extreme mortification. How could David be so cruel to me, bringing a new woman into my home while I am away? I burst into tears and beat my fists against the formica. And then I go to bed and fall into a fidgety, insecure sleep. Sometime later I become aware of my nose again. It tells me that lunch is ready and that lunch is different. Normal Bowie fare is a fry-up and burnt toast. Unless set to seduce or impress, the man is not interested in gastronomy. That day, however, someone is concocting something clever with cheese and garlic. As I stumble out of bed, it comes to me she is a good cook as well. Chords that later become an occasional dream reverberate from the kitchen. A female voice with an American accent enthuses, "Honey, that's great." Then, as my presence is felt, she turns from the cooker and, without a second's hesitation or a flicker of embarrassment, manifests an enormous smile and moves towards me, hand outstretched. "Hi Mary, I'm so happy to meet you. David has told me wonderful things about you. Disarming, charming and probably insincere, but I am easily led and still befuddled with sleep, and allow myself to be steered into the sitting room and fed delicious pasta and salad washed down with chilled frascati. Not only has Mary Angela Barnett, at age 19, 10 years my junior, ousted me from David's bed, but she has also managed to replace me in my own kitchen. Even when restored to full consciousness, I sit back, as docile as a newborn puppy, and allow Angie to roam free, center stage. She is tall, slim, and graceful with showgirl legs and a long, thick mane of mouse blonde hair. I watch her face carefully, trying to decide if she really is beautiful. The eyes are big and perfectly set. The nose and chin are chiseled and perfectly proportioned. The mouth, however, is less than perfect. It is big, too big. And loud, too loud. She keeps talking, flattering me and probing for common ground. I learned that, like me, she was at school in Switzerland and speaks fluent French. Unlike me, she is the adored daughter of wealthy parents. She is expensively dressed. She exudes confidence, wit, kindness, and friendship, and as I watch her, I feel my self-esteem ebbing away. From that time onwards Angie more or less moves in, sharing David's single bed and small room. No one asks me if it's okay for her to join the household, and David keeps a low profile during this transition, offering no apology, no explanation, and no comfort. For a while I am extremely miserable. I feel betrayed but also helpless to do anything about it. He gives the impression that jilting a girlfriend and simultaneously moving in her replacement is no big deal. It is a big deal for me, and alone in my bed I cry a lot. I have to admit, though, that I enjoy Angie's company. It is a refreshing change from the gangly youths who leave roaches in the ashtrays and guitar string booby traps. Angie throws herself 100% into everything that goes on around David. We cook together and mostly speak French in the kitchen, which irritates David because he doesn't understand it and feels left out. To retaliate, he perches on a stool with the Gibson and distracts us with new song lines. As the ex, I should have thrown them both out, but I didn't because life was still funny, bizarre, and exciting with them around. The fun continues without hiccups for a while, until one day David returns from London, ashen-faced and minus Angie. "What's up?" I asked. She had hysterics in the train and got out at Kent House. "I've been walking around for hours but I can't find her." A few days later she throws another hissy fit at the 3 Tons, a nearby pub where David and I ran a folk night. Angie is crying and shouting and storming around the car park, refusing to say why she is upset. Then the main act, Keith Christmas, comes out to find Angie, who is supposed to be comparing the show. She melts into his arms and, as she does so, gives me a wink. With what soon becomes predictable regularity, she throws tantrums whenever she is not the center of attention. She also throws carefully calculated tantrums, stage managed to bend people to her will, confuse a perceived enemy, or, I realize after the Keith Christmas incident, seduce anyone who takes her fancy. After a while I realize she is carrying serious decadence into our midst, and that David Bowie, the lad from the South London suburbs, has been on the lookout for someone like her to catalyze him into that world. Do I want to extend my boundaries any further, or should I retreat while I still can? Eventually it is Angie, part angel, part hellcat, who provides the solution to this dilemma, when she sets out one night to seduce me. Confused by a tsunami of conflicting emotions, I allow her to steer me into my bedroom, but the encounter is too much for the remnants of my conventional mindset. Too bewildering, too alien. Now, aged 66, Angie has moved into another strange household, the celebrity Big Brother house. The Channel 5 show, the latest series of which started on Tuesday, may be undignified and horrible, but I strongly suspect she jumped at the offer. I am sure money was part of the motivation, but, more than that, Angie is simply someone who needs the limelight and, living as she does in quite a remote area of America, she is probably feeling a bit isolated. The housemates don't know what they're in for, as David once said, living with her is like living with a blowtorch.